Every time you go on a diet and fail, you're not just going back to zero, you're making the next attempt even harder. And over time, you're building what feels like a second version of your body, one that burns less, holds on to fat more aggressively, and reacts differently to the exact same things that used to work before. That's hard to see because from the outside, it looks like the problem is inconsistency or lack of discipline. But what's actually happening is that your body is adapting to every failed attempt. Each time you cut calories, push hard, and then regain the weight, your body doesn't reset, it adjusts. And those adjustments stack. This is what's known as metabolic adaptation, where your body lowers how much energy it burns in response to dieting, and combined with weight cycling, which is the repeated pattern of losing and regaining weight, it shifts how your body handles food, hunger, and fat storage. The end result is that the same calorie deficit produces less fat loss, the same effort feels more exhausting, and the margin for error gets smaller every time. After a few cycles, you're no longer dealing with the same body you started with. You're dealing with one that has already learned how to resist what you're doing, which is why repeating the same strategy usually stops working, and in a lot of cases, makes things worse instead of better. The part that really breaks things is not the diet itself. It's what your day actually looks like while you're trying to diet. You can hit your calories for a few days, train harder for a week, but if the rest of your routine stays the same, eating too often, long stretches, sitting, your body doesn't register that as a real change. From your perspective, it feels like effort because you are doing something different for a short period of time. From your body's perspective, nothing meaningful changed long enough to justify letting go of stored energy. The pattern it keeps seeing is still the same, just interrupted for a few days here and there. That's why it's possible to feel like you're doing everything right and still not see consistent fat loss. Because the overall pattern you're repeating is still telling your body to hold on, not release. At some point it stops being about effort and starts being about how your body actually reacts to what you're doing. And if that sounds weird, just think about it for a second. You probably know someone who eats all the time, never works out, and still stays lean. And on the other side, you've seen people who clean up their diet, go to the gym consistently, and still struggle to lose fat. So what's actually going on there? It's not just about how much someone exercises, because even outside the gym, bodies behave very differently. Some people naturally burn more energy just existing. They don't feel the same level of hunger, and their body is much slower to store fat. Others do the opposite. They burn less throughout the day, get hungrier more frequently, and their body stores energy faster, even when the difference in behavior doesn't look that big from the outside. You've got bodies that stay lean by default, others that sit in the middle, and others that gain weight quickly and have to be a lot more precise if they want to lose fat. If you apply the same routine to all of them, the result will not be the same. That difference has a name. It's what people refer to as body types. People on the lean end are called ectomorphs, who naturally burn more and have a harder time gaining fat. In the middle, the mesomorphs. They tend to respond more predictably to diet and training. And then there are endomorph type bodies, which hold on to energy, store fat faster, and usually need a tighter structure to get the same result. So when two people follow the same plan, they're not starting from the same place. You've probably seen this play out, the classic just eat less argument. Someone looks at a heavier person and says it's just about closing their mouth, because for them, that is enough. But what they don't see is that a lot of the time, the person struggling is already eating the same amount or even less and still not getting the same result. And once you add metabolic adaptation on top of that, it gets even worse. Because now it's not just a difference in body type anymore, it's a body that already learned how to resist the exact thing that's supposed to fix it. That's exactly what happened to me. And I didn't notice it at the time. I went through multiple cycles of losing weight and gaining it back, and every time I started again, it felt harder than the last. The same approach that used to work stopped working the same way, the same effort gave me less results, and the margin for error got smaller every time. Looking back now, it's obvious what was happening. I was slowly building that second version of my body, the one that burns less, stores faster, and reacts differently to the same inputs. And the more times I repeated that cycle, the stronger that version became. So instead of moving forward, I was making the process harder every time I tried again. And on top of that, I was dealing with a body type that already leans in that direction. I'm an endomorph type, the type that stores fat aggressively and has a harder time losing it compared to others. And when you combine that with repeated cycles of dieting and regaining weight, that second body effect we talked about gets stronger every time. So now it's a body that already stores more, burns less, plus adapted from past attempts, all working against you at the same time. That's exactly why I had to stop guessing and stop copying what works for other people and start building something that actually fits how my body responds. It wasn't one change, it was a process of testing, adjusting, and figuring out what actually worked for this body type. And once that finally started working, I organized everything into a simple structure, which is what became my free guide. 7 steps that got me out of obesity. Something that came out of real trial and error until it actually worked. And if you're not even sure what kind of body you're working with, inside the guide I show a simple trick that helps you figure that out in seconds. So you can stop repeating the same pattern and start using something that actually matches how your body responds. It's free, and if you want to check it out, the link is right in the description. In the end, this is what most people miss. Fat loss is not just about what you do for a few days. It's about what your body gets used to over time. And if the pattern you keep repeating is building that second version of your body, the one that holds more fat, then trying harder inside the same pattern won't fix it. That's why understanding how your body actually responds changes everything. Because once you see that clearly, you stop repeating what's keeping you stuck and start building something that actually moves you forward. And that's the difference between feeling like nothing works and finally seeing it work again. Eventually, you either keep repeating the same pattern and stay exactly where you are, or you recognize it and change it. Because if nothing changes, the result won't either. The difference is that once you actually understand what's been happening, it stops feeling like bad luck and it becomes something you can control. And from that point on, it's not about trying harder. It's about deciding whether you're going to keep reinforcing the same outcome or finally do something different.